Check one, two, check one, two. What is up, guys? Here it is, your boy Kagi, back at it again with a new video. And in this video, I bring you Luca Netz, ladies and gentlemen. This is a juicy, juicy interview. In this interview, we bring you the most exciting entrepreneur here in Web3. Luca Netz has basically bought Pudgy Penguins for $2.5 million in a Twitter bid a couple years ago. And he has taken this IP to something completely different. We're going to figure out what his vision for this IP is. So Luca, thank you for taking your time and doing this interview, my friend.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
For sure, man. Look, I have done a lot of research on you. You grew up without a father, lived in more than 14 places for like 10 years, essentially couch surfed between like rich homes and not so rich homes. What have you learned from this experience? And do you think any of those experiences have taken you to the place you're at today with Pudgy Penguins?
Yeah, I think growing up, it taught me about the duality of life. It taught me what being in a really rich household felt like and being in a really poor household. And I saw which one I enjoyed more. I enjoyed being in a situation where money wasn't a problem. And so I think that motivated me to be successful pretty early on.
But this is something that you didn't think about until like recently. And you have said this a lot. This is not something that you were like constantly, oh my God, I need to make it. It was more like something you had in you because of those experiences. And then you kind of reflected on.
Yeah, exactly. I think from my perspective, it was really the fuel to my fire growing up. And especially being an entrepreneur, I knew where I wanted to go and I knew where I didn't want to go back to.
Absolutely, absolutely. I always thought about that too. I never want to live under a bridge. Every time I saw homeless, I would be like, I would ask my parents, like, I don't want to be like that, you know? So that motivates you for sure. That motivates you. Now, tell us about your experience in the businesses that you kind of went through. I know you went through a few businesses that led you to what Pudgy is today, and all of them kind of gave you an understanding of how to run this company today. So first you started at Ring Doorbells, and you had dropped out of high school, which is something very interesting to note. Tell us a little bit more about that experience and what did you learn from that?
Yeah, I had to drop out of high school to help my mom pay the bills. I was sick and tired of seeing her struggle. Ultimately, I printed out 100 resumes. I went up and down Fairfax and Melrose trying to get a job. None of them gave it to me. Then I took my tail to Tech Row, and then I passed my resume to a rinky-dink startup at the time called Ring Doorbell. What I learned there, I think, was I learned what it was to build a company. I saw all the moving pieces. I saw the stress. I saw the trials and tribulations. Jamie, the CEO, used to punch holes in walls.
Sick.
So I don't punch any holes in walls, but I respect the grind and I respect anyone building. And so that I think inspired me to be an entrepreneur. I knew I always wanted to be successful, but I think that gave me the motivation to want to build a big company.
Yeah, and then from there you quit. Why do you quit? And I know you go into like Shopify stores for influencers at a pretty big scale.
Yeah, I started an e-commerce business and I was making all this money selling jewelry online through influencers. Influencer marketing was untapped. And then being young and successful in Los Angeles, I integrated with other young and successful individuals, which in LA means influencers and celebrities. And I realized they didn't have the money that I thought they would have. And so I was like, well, you guys have all the followers, you have all the eyeballs. Why don't I build brands and merchandise around your likeness and sell it?
Mhm.
And we did that at a pretty big scale. We were able to do over $250 million in gross sales in 3.5 years.
Holy
It was a cash cow of a business.
How old were you at that moment?
I was about 19 when that business really started taking off.
What? Bro, that's insanity. Insanity. Okay, we'll get into that in a little bit. So from there, you go into Gel Blaster. How does Gel Blaster happen? I was looking at that and it gave me this paintball vibes, but really cool. Like it's cool. Like it's just a cool thing. Like I would play with that today. What were you doing at Gel Blaster? I heard that you took that to the next level. Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that.
So I was at Gel Blaster, and that basically was an interesting. How that happened was interesting. I was on a road trip with a guy named Jesse, one of the 50% of the Nelk boys at the time, and ran a company called Full Send. and his assistant Courtney brought out a bunch of guns that she bought off of Kickstarter. And I started shooting those guns, and I immediately knew that it was a winning product. I made a story on my Instagram. I said, "Who knows and who runs this business?" I got connected with the founder, and I said, "I want to buy a piece of this business." I wrote them a $600,000 check and became their CMO, and kind of redid their entire brand identity and kind of brought them to market in a big way. And so that was my role there. I did that for about a year and a half, and then we came into Pudgy Penguins.
Holy, this is so interesting. You just kind of like go, 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 go. It's almost like you kind of go out of instinct, which
Yeah.
is this is it's very like I understand this because I kind of go with instinct as well, but not many people have that. Like that instinct to just move, 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 move and try new things. Really interesting. Now, before we get into Pudgy Penguins, my friend, you went into Von Dutch as well. Von Dutch, I used this Von Dutch hat, and it's very similar to what I have right now. And it was really interesting when I heard that. And your marketing strategies, you say you don't want to give the sauce, but you took Von Dutch to the next level again. Like Von Dutch was very popular, so I imagine you took it when it went down and popularized Von Dutch again. What was Von Dutch missing?
Yeah, we brought back Von Dutch in 2020. And so Von Dutch was a hot brand in the early 2000s. It had a flagship store on Melrose, seemingly died for 10 years. And then amongst the Chrome Hearts craze, we realized that Von Dutch had the same ingredients that Chrome Hearts did. And we told ourselves, well, this thing can go viral. We just need to put it in the right hands. And that's what we did. And so over the course of a year, we basically took that business from nothing to something. And unfortunately, we couldn't continue our engagement. They didn't. We couldn't come to contract terms, and but that was beautiful because what Von Dutch was missing was eyeballs. They had everything else, and so it kind of reminded me of Pudgy Penguins. Pudgy Penguins had all the ingredients, just needed the eyeballs.
Absolutely. We're going to jump into that right now. So, all these experiences, I can tell, bro, like I went through your interviews and stuff. This is all like you have all the sauces together right now to run a successful business, right? You have all the experiences you need. And this is incredible because not every founder has that. There's a lot of founders with experiences, maybe working for a AAA game in gaming, working for a big brand, and they have seen how things are ran, seen from the bottom up, right? But not running like little businesses and being successful. So these elements that you have is not very common, especially at such a young age. Now, what was your first experience with crypto? How did this come about? Did you buy Dogecoin like everybody else?
No, my brother was a computer nerd, still is. When I started making some money, we got into mining. We were mining the wrong thing. We were mining Digibyte, but I had like 30 1080 Ti's in my mom's apartment at the time, heating up the whole joint. And I just believed. I believed in. I was a Litecoin litinaire, so I was a Litecoin Super Bowl. That didn't end up too well for me, but I bought in pretty early. I remember looking at Coinbase and seeing Bitcoin at like $600, $700. Decided to buy some Litecoins. Did really well. Held Litecoins even until today. But it was but I think when you understand crypto, you understand freedom, right?
Mhm.
It's freedom of money, and so I learned really early on that I don't like people in the middle or being able to control me in any shape, way, or form, and so that's kind of how that transpired.
I agree with you. I agree with you. It gives you that freedom to create and to not have to depend on anybody else. So really nice, really nice. Now, how did the acquisition process happen? You tweet about this. You say that you didn't really want to buy it, but then you tweet about it. Like, is this instinct again, without you kind of being
This was,
conscious
this
about it?
was this was unconscious behavior and complete instinct. My hands took over the screen. I didn't really know what I meant when I said I wanted to buy it. I think part of me wanted some attention. Part of me wanted to, get my hat in the ring and show people that I was serious. And ultimately ended up probably being what I think is going to end up being the best thing I ever did in my life. Um, but it was, I can't tell you the whole story because it will take a real hour for me to
That's
go
fine.
through
We'll
why I think this is such a special story. But I'll leave it to, a post-mortem success interview whenever we have that.
Absolutely, man. Again, I thank you for your time because you're probably busy as hell. People are hitting you up. They want to collaborate. They want all your attention right now. So, now, how has Pudgy changed since you first acquired it? So you acquired it. It's an NFT that kind of has a nice community, something that a lot of VCs and a lot of people that have money here do not know how to identify. And I always told this to VCs. So, oh yeah, how do you make money? Yada yada yada. First, you need to get in there, right? You need to get into those communities and understand what you're buying. It's not about like, oh, in 10 years, this is going to do this. No, like, why is it going to do that? Well, the foundation is the community. So, how do you take this community into what it is today? Like, how much different is it?
It's not so different. I think we added a little bit of boundaries. We added a little bit of excitement. We added a little bit of scale. When we bought into this, it wasn't a business, so I think it's very much as a business today. I think that'd be hard to deny. I
Mhm.
think from our perspective, it is something that is it's amplified, right? Like what it was, it's just what it was on steroids. The community, nobody wants to wear a PFP where they're down bad and they're ashamed to wear it. It like
Mhm.
just ruins everything. And so the community I know is like they're proud to wear a Pudgy Penguin. Like they know that I'm showing up every day, that I'm really giving it my best shot, that I'm going above and beyond. They know the team is putting in the work. They know we're doing everything possible to make sure that they're happy and they're reciprocating that value. And I
Mhm.
have a really great relationship with them, one that I think is not to be underestimated. And so from my perspective, uh, it is something that it's just amplified. It's amplified to what it already was. We got some of the bad apples out. I think every community had some bad apples, and they had their moments to exit the community, and they did. And I
Which is
think
good.
very much now we're in a healthy spot. Like there's no one guy that owns hundreds of penguins. That's always a risk. Like our biggest holders, two people that I know are just here to hold for 20 years, and the rest, are smaller, and there's no systemic risk. There's no bad vibes. They know the team is working. The team is in the headlines. The socials are growing every day. Videos are getting 50 to 60 million views a day across socials.
That's
Like
insane. You have the sauce for this.
we have the sauce for this. And so the community is, at a certain point, you look at it for what it is.
It's a cool
Community is
community. It's cool. It's
happy.
just cool. And you mentioned this a lot. There's a lot of brands out there that have potential, but they're just not cool. They're just not cool enough. They don't know how to aesthetically please, and make it be cool. Like, oh my god, I'm wearing a pudgy. Oh my god, I'm wearing this, right? Like you gotta make it cool. So it definitely has that cool aspect, especially when you go to the site for the game. And we'll talk about the game in a little bit. Now, with all the original NFTs, you haven't launched a one-to-one for all the original as toys. Is that something you're planning to? Because there's 8,888, or for each collection, you're gonna do something different. Like, okay, now we do a pillow. I don't know, a pudgy pillow, and now we're gonna take 10 of those collections and create pillows for them, right? For those.
Yeah, so I think when you look at our brand from a product and character, development standpoint, we are very much here to use, to the best of our ability, the community's assets to create these products, whether it's pillows, whether it's teacups, whether it's action figures and plushies. To the best of my ability, I will license the penguins from the holders. I think there will be exceptions to that. I think our main two characters, for the sake of risk of, what you don't want is, you don't want to, there's two main characters we're planning to debut, and there's going to be a supporting cast. And I think that supporting cast is going to be licensed from the community. I think the two main characters, when you gauge risk, right? Like the last thing I would want to happen is license a main character from a community member, and then, God forbid they go do something
Mm,
horrendous that I can't control, and they are a representation of that brand. And
yes.
the two main vocal points I think you have to control, because there's too much risk to the greater community and there's too much risk to the company to say that the two main pieces in the Pudgy Penguins ecosystem, the two, we'll call it the blue and the pink penguin that you see on Instagram,
Hmm.
for that to be owned by somebody else, you have to understand that somebody else then becomes a representation. You then tie their actions to the company, no matter
Absolutely.
ways you turn it.
Yeah, they could scam, they could do whatever it is, whatever it
Exactly.
is.
Versus right now, if there's one guy who owns a penguin who's licensed as a toy, I can take that toy off the shelf, and like I can control the risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus, your two main characters, somebody owns that, like what am I going to do? They do something bad and they hold me for ransom, and there's just too much systemic risk to that, and so I would say 95% of all the characters and products that we're going to make, we're going to license from the community, with the exception that I have to have 5% to be nimble and protect myself from systemic risk, not only for myself, because myself is probably the least of the priorities, really for the greater brand in the community, right? We are going to win by our ability to create a brand that millions of people love. One bad headline can set us back big time. And so I'm not in the business of bad headlines. I'm in the business of positive ones. And that's kind of what we're optimizing for.
Absolutely, and not only for your business, because maybe right now you're thinking about your business, and that's okay, because you're still building it. You want to be the best of the best. You want to compete. You want to be better than everybody else. And anybody that thinks that's kind of egotistical or whatever, I think they're just mistaken, right? When you're building something, you want to be the best. You want to compete, and you want to win. Winners. You're a winner, right? But in the future, what you're doing is gonna set a precedent that you're gonna feel very good about, not from an ego standpoint, but more from a like, holy crap, okay, I helped shape this, and now people can follow this kind of model, because I didn't even think about this. Now that I think about it, it's like, yeah, there is risk when you use somebody else's pudgies. Of course, they can do all kinds of stuff. They could be even a public figure that uses their pudgy all the time, and now they do something really horrendous, and now Pudgy is kind of connected to that. So yeah, very interesting conversation right there. Now let's jump into the game, because I didn't know you guys had a game. That's when I really piqued my interest. I'm in the Web3 gaming industry, or gaming industry, whatever you want to call it. And I think you guys did something very, very special by selling toys very cheap, or at the right price in Walmart, and then having a QR code, and just it jumps you into the experience. And then the experience gives you the CSGO vibes by opening packs. And then on top of that, you're into the game right away. So how do you come up with this? You talk up a little bit in the documentary, but this is really interesting, and it's going to change the game.
Yeah, the community came up with it. That's the beauty of Web3, is I didn't even come up with it. And I'm not a game builder. I'm no interest in building a game. But the community said, when they buy the toys, they should be onboarded into NFTs. And, we started off as like a digital trait pack, and then you could customize your own character. And then I was like, well, this is a little lackluster, because all we have is a character builder and a trait unlock. And so the only way that this makes sense is you can go play around with your character, right? And so the tie came from that respect. Is how do you tie in, okay, you unlock some NFTs with the purchase of a toy, you get this customized 3D Pudgy Penguin, but now you got to go do something with it. And so we subtly, not intentionally, got into the gaming business. Now, my gaming thesis is simple. I am not here to build your next AAA. I think the beauty of where we are with our game is there's no expectation, right? Any user goes, right? Like I did not sell you land based on the game. You're not, it's nothing but a net positive. If it works, it works, right? And I think that's the beauty of what we've got. It's not our value proposition. I'm not selling you guys like I'm a Web3 gaming company and that but it's an interesting little X factor that if it takes off, could be a real needle mover for us. And I think we have the ingredients to make it take off. I think we have a cute character that makes cute noises and that's fun to kind of bounce around in. I think we have a great value proposition in the tie with a toy that makes it fun, almost like the Webkins model. And I think ultimately, the one that I'm really, really excited about is the fact that to understand, Web3 gaming, or to understand what I think the future of Web3 gaming is going to yield, I think everyone's focused on these really deep, expensive AAA experiences. And what we're trying to go after is something completely different. We're just trying to go after something simple, stupid, and fun, right? Like simple, stupid, fun, no expectations, nothing but the cherry on top. And I think if we can achieve what we want to achieve regarding the simple, stupid, and fun model, that we will ultimately get where we want to be. And so, we have distribution through our socials. We have distribution through our toy network. We have distribution through a bunch of ways. And so the one that I'm most excited about to see here coming up shortly is the ability to kind of build out this world. And we have so much more done than I think the audience knows.
Give us a leak, man. Come on. Like, are you
No,
kidding me?
we have way more than a lobby. I'll tell you that. We've built so much more than this. We almost just want to kind of to create that FOMO. Okay, here's the lobby. Here's the first taste. What's the next step? We didn't want to just kind of give our entire, experience right here, right now. But over the next coming weeks and coming months, you guys are going to see that product evolve, and I'm really excited for the world to see it.
Yeah, and so far you have done collaborations with a few NFT IPs and like DeGods. Are you looking into maybe expanding outside? Something like, I don't know, Nike. I saw the founder of Face Clan the other day tag you. Maybe he deleted it after. I could see a little Face Clan Pudgy shirt or whatever, like stuff like that.
Yeah, Web 2 brands I think are on the horizon, but I think for this rollout, I'm just going to add more Web 3 brands. Like, this is our moment. This is our moment to bring new characters. This is not, Pudgy Penguins being in Walmart. It's not a moment for Pudgy Penguins. It's a moment for anybody who holds any NFT. And it's going to require the support of anybody who holds an NFT. It's not a barrier breaking for us. It's if it succeeds, it'll be a huge moment for us. Don't get me wrong. We're going to be able to move so much more quickly and in such a better capacity if that's the case. But ultimately, it's a moment for the industry. This is a door opening for Axie. I know you love Axie. This is a door opening for Cool Cats and Doodles. This is a door opening for anybody that wants to bring their character to the mass market and to the real world. And this is, hopefully going to be the playbook that everybody follows. And so, from our perspective, this is very much the cadence that we're kicking into, and I'm super excited to bring this to the world.
Absolutely. Right now, for example, if you claim an NFT from or a collectible, let's call it collectible, from your Pudgy toy, you scan it. Like, what wallet is it using? It doesn't really matter. I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's on ZK Sync, and so it's using a ZK Sync wallet. We've basically given and stood up a custody wallet solution. So for an email and a password, we make you a custody wallet. For the short term, you won't be able to. You can trade the traits on ZK platforms. You can't trade it natively on Pudgy World, but we'll be opening that up shortly. I think for just like returns, what I didn't want to happen, just so we're clear and transparent, I didn't want people to go to Walmart, buy a Pudgy Penguin toy, scan the QR code, and return it. That would have not been a good experience for Walmart, i.e. scan the trait, sold the trait for $1 or $5, whatever they would have sold it for. And so we're still working out the mechanics there, but once we have it solved, we will make those traits tradable live on Pudgy World.
Interesting. Very nice. Very nice. All right. So in your documentary, my friend, you talk about 100 days to deliver the toys to Walmart, and I'm really interested in this. We can make it quick. But before Walmart accepted you, you went through Amazon. You had to prove yourself to them. Although you have all this business background, all this like successes, right? They're probably not the same as Pudgy, right? They're just elements of Pudgy. And you mentioned that a lot, where now is your real moment to be an entrepreneur and kind of lead a team and kind of understand exactly where you're going and where you want to go. So how was that process? 100 days, you say yes to this. Are you crazy?
Yeah, I'm crazy for sure. For a lot of reasons. You're not supposed to do this under such a short time frame. It's not supposed to be done this quickly. And I think the brand is early too. Like, I'm not going to pretend that it isn't, right? Like, we're losing Web3 users in a Super Bowl, in a bull market. I do this any day of the week. The thing sells out in Walmart day one, right? Because, for sure. But we're in the depths of the bear, and I think I feel the despair everywhere in the industry. And so you see in the documentary, I'm like, dude, I'm either going to sit here and twiddle my thumbs, right, and keep doing what we're doing, or I'm going to go take a risk. And like, that risk is on behalf of Pudgy for the greater Web3 community, right? Like, I've got to go give this thing a shot. I've got to change the narrative, right? The narrative is one that is pessimistic and bad. And so the narrative needs to change into optimism and needs to be optimistic. And so, this moment for us was a moment to show the world that NFTs are not a scam, that we are real, we are here to stay, and we're here to make an impact.
Yeah, you have definitely, done that for us. That's 100% how it feels. And I made a thread about this. I was like, okay, but you clap back. You clap back. There was 4 days before, there was articles about NFTs, and it's whole like kind of they do it together. It's like, this kind of like, okay, let's attack. And then you have articles from Fortnite saying they want to do cross collaborations with Roblox at the same time as they're attacking NFTs. So they're talking about metaverse and cross collaborations. They attack NFTs, but then you clap back. You clap back real hard because it was very successful. And a lot of people are grateful for this, not only in Pudgy, but outside like me. I'm an outsider and when it comes to Pudgy, but now I'm part of Pudgy. So now, what is your vision? I guess your goal in terms of revenue. You got your short term, mid term, and long term. What are you trying to do here? Like, how do you?
Short term,
Yeah.
we're on pace to 2.5x to 3x last year's revenue, which I think is great, figuring royalties disappeared. Next year, I want to do 20, $30 million, and the year after that, get into the hundreds of millions. I think we can do it. I've been a part of a journey like this before. I've seen similar type of success. It's not going to be easy, and it's going to take the support of not only our community. It's going to take the support of Web3. It's going to take the support of crypto, and it's going to take the support of a lot of people, outside of it, that hopefully our followers and our fans that know nothing about it in our NFTs. And it's going to take a little bit of luck. I'm conscious of that. You know what I mean? Everything, you got to sprinkle in a little bit of luck, a little bit of good faith from universe or God, whichever you believe in. But I know there's a greater power at play, and I know somebody's looking out for us. So hopefully everything works according to plan.
I love your philosophical approach to kind of the way you go about things. Um, Now I have a few more questions. This one's really interesting to me. You were doing influencer marketing, or not marketing, but creating brands for influencers, Shopify, yada yada yada. But now you're at the center of this. What is there is a big difference. You're front and center of this. You're a celebrity right now in your own rights. So how do you manage this kind of attention? Are you conscious that you can fall into this trip of like, oh, I'm the shit, like, kind of don't talk to me, type of vibe. So how do you manage this? Are you always conscious about this, not falling
Yeah,
into that?
I had the I'm the shit thing when I was younger, and I try not to be. I don't want to be the celebrity or the main character, but I know it helps our community. And at the end of the day, like, I have one job. Like, the only job I have is to make our community happy. I have no other job. I am not interested in any other job.
Mhm.
Right? Like, that is the job that is going to take this business where it needs to be, and that is the only job I'm focused on.
Mhm.
Everything else is ancillary. Everything else is in between. As long as I know 99.9% of our community members and our NFT holders are happy, I will be happy. And now also, as long as people who don't hold the NFT, who are somewhat community members that hold buy our toys and experience our Instagram, I need to make sure they are happy as well. And so, as long as I can just make the greater audience happy, in a perfect world, I'm an introvert. In a perfect world, I'm not the main character and I'm not the vocal point. But this is what is asked of me. This is what is needed in the depths of a bear. This is what's needed in this industry. And I have a unique skill set, and I think the space needs that skill set. So I will lead for as long as I need to, and I'm ready to give the throne and the baton to somebody else who's willing to do a better job in another project. Right? I think we need more people like me. I think if we had 20 founders like me, we'd be in a great spot. We'd be in an NFT bull market, if you ask me. So all I want to do is lay the foundation, lay the playbook, set the roadmap, show them that it's possible. You can do it against all odds. There's power in the little guy. There's power in the underdog. We're very much that. And if I can inspire more founders to lead the charge in a similar way, the better. And we have. Think about just content. Nobody was making content before. Now every freaking NFT project has an Instagram page now shipping content. That's good.
Mhm.
That is good for us. That is good for the industry. That is good for the space. That's good for everybody who loves NFT IP and loves the character brands.
I see you
So
doing that. Yeah, and you kind of like connected to what's going on right now with Pudgy. Oh, like Pudgy's, going to Walmart and sweeping the floor, and now you got a little animation. That's fucking genius, Like now you're connected. You're like, yo, I did that. My dad did that. My mom did that. Oh, okay, I'm gonna retweet it. I'm gonna like it. This is me. So you see yourself through the brand, which is it's really smart, man. Now I don't want to take more of your time, so I have two more questions. What is your ultimate goal with Pudgies? How do you see it in 15 years? Because right now we have penguins, but do you plan maybe in the future creating adjacent brands that stand by themselves and collaborate with Pudgy, much like Disney has many brands that collaborate together and that they're called Disney, and then you have Marvel, and then you have you understand this. So
yeah,
yeah.
I think from my perspective, 10 years from now, we would have built Web3's premier and staple character brand. We have a brand that tens of millions of people love. And the company that owns Pudgy Penguins is called the Igloo Company. And that's a take on the Walt Disney Company, right? Like the goal is, nothing else matters until Pudgy Penguins is where it is. And Pudgy Penguins is our Mickey Mouse. And so I'm not even thinking about other characters or other brands, but one day they will yield an opportunity to do that. And I want to do that, but I got to take care of this group first and foremost. And when the opportunity presents itself, and I think we have the opportunity to have overflowing demand and more people that want to digitally collect our ecosystem, then we'll make new characters.
Would you sell your brand right now? Like on
Uh,
it, like honestly, like we're talking about like Elon Musk vibes. Like, okay, yo, I'll give you 10 bill or 5 billion.
for sure. I mean, at some point, uh, you'll find this about me. I'm not a lunatic. I'm not crazy. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, I'm in business and I work so hard because of some opportunity. But first and foremost, I wouldn't sell it to somebody who I think would ruin the community.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, yeah.
if I sold it, they probably want me to stay on. I don't think anyone would want to buy Pudgy Penguins with not me on it. At least teaching them and their team and their group what to do for at least a couple of years.
Which is what most companies have done. Like they buy Instagram,
Yes.
they keep the CEO, and then kind of like stuff like that. So yeah, just kind of something that came up. Now, last question, bro. Thank you for your time. Again, give me an advice for young founders, for all the founders here that are kind of lost. They kind of don't. They flip flop. One day they're Web 2, one day they're Web 3. They don't know, yada yada, blah blah, bling bloom blang. Like like how do you take control of your brand and say I'm building? Like what would you say to them?
Yeah, the best thing that you can do is set the expectations. Since
Mhm.
day one, since I took over, you knew what you were buying a Pudgy Penguin for. You were buying it because you believed in the world's next great character brand. You believed Pudgy Penguins had the ingredients to be that, right? Like that, and that I think leaves so little room for people to get mad at me. Like when you buy at a 7th floor and we're at a 4th floor or a 5th floor, you're not mad at me because of that, because I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I told you I would do, right? Every day the Instagram followers go up. Every day we get more views. Every day we sell more toys. Every day, I'm pushing the needle and I'm moving the needle forward, right? Every single day. And so you know what you're getting into. You either believe in that thesis or you believe in that vision or you don't. And it leaves no room to get upset. I think the worst thing that I see is just this FUD cancer spreading within communities. And it's because of mismanaged expectations. Expectations lead to resentment. It's the one thing that Alcohol Anonymous will teach you. I had a mentor that was that. I was not in AA, but AA will teach you that, right? And so you have to manage your expectations. And so I'm managing my expectations. The community knows what I'm doing. And every day is a step forward into that direction, into the overarching vision. And so just set the foundation, make it very clear, and I think you'll have a really good time and success.
Would you say that's something that you got to do for yourself as well? Like you can do it for the community, but in the back end, you could be like, okay, I want to be the next Disney, right? In your mind, you don't say that to the community, right? But you say it to yourself. So at what point you say, wait, let me take it down a notch because I'm not Disney yet, like. But you also want to dream that big, so it's kind of like you're in between there. You got to dream big, but you also can't go overboard, right?
Totally. And I have huge dreams. I could tell you all of those things, right? but I tackle it right in front. The one thing that's important to me is the strength of my word. The second I start talking craziness, right, or the people are gonna be like, dude, he's nuts. Like I wasn't even saying, I wasn't telling people I wanted to be the face of NFTs or I thought I was going to be the face of NFTs until like the data supported that statement. Nothing that I'll say will be out of craziness. It's important. It's important that when I say something, it has weight. So if I just start talking craziness without any supporting metrics, people are not going to take my word for what it is. So I got to be level-headed every time. I've got to live in the realm of reality. I can be ambitious, but I have my dreams and I know where we're going to go 10, 15 years from now, right? And that's that. But I think for now, let me live in the realm of reality so that my word has weight. Because if my word has weight, that's the best thing that I can do for my community in the short term.
That's really good advice. Your word has weight, so live in the realm of reality. Pudgy 2023. Hey, bro, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And last thing I will tell you before we end this is that you got to start calling yourself the founder. Because I was like, okay, he's a CEO of Pudgy. No, you took Pudgy to another level now. So at a certain point, you become the founder because it's a new direction, right? It's something new. It's not you're not saying you're the founder of the NFTs. Now you're the founder of all the other elements that Pudgy is bringing to the table. So, I mean, at some point you got to be like, yo, I'm the founder of this.
I respect that. I'll take that into consideration. Maybe it's time.
It is time. All right, man. Thank you for your time again. Let me stop this recording.